I don't think it's at all isolated. We've got not only reports, all kinds of evidence of these groups actually doing training in the woods as they did back in the 90s. There's a huge number of these groups that have essentially come back to life, or in many cases, at least 50 we've been able to find, where new groups have formed, and it's probably a good many more than that.
What do you think these findings
let me say
mean?
that, I'm sorry?
What do you think these findings mean?
Well, I think that this is a kind of convergence of factors that are driving these groups. I think that, as you mentioned in the intro in Christine's report, the election of Obama as president, the diminishing majority of whites in this country, the state of the economy, and the fact that we have a black man as president, all have contributed to some people, some fairly sizable number of people in this country, feeling that somehow the country that their kind of Christian white forefathers built has been taken from them.
Mr. Poach.
But first at 11 o'clock we have breaking news. The FBI says it has thwarted a terror plot. 4 men arrested in an undercover FBI sting and charged with a plot to blow up 2 synagogues in the Bronx and shoot down a military plane at a local airport. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Ritter.
And on this show, federal agents moved in tonight and say their suspects are homegrown would-be terrorists. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is in the Riverdale section of the Bronx with the very latest on this story. Jim.
And what a story it is, Liz. According to the FBI, this was a plot to blow up 2 synagogues and a community center, all in the Bronx. It was not a plan in its early planning stages. It was not hypothetical. According to the FBI, the 4 men intended to carry out their plan today to blow up the 2 synagogues and later to use surface-to-air missiles to take out military aircraft. The 4 men were arrested today, according to the FBI, as they were putting cars loaded with what they believed to be C4 explosives around 2 synagogues, both in the Bronx. The fake C4 was provided by the FBI operatives, and again, the men believed they were putting their plan into effect today.
The 4 men were shot here as they were walking in for the morning prayer service. The first victim had just arrived when the suspect approached him.
As he exits the vehicle, he observes a male black wearing a black hoodie approach him purposely, and without, apparently at this point, without any words said, the male black produces a handgun and begins firing, attempting to shoot the first victim.
The second victim was trying to get through this door when the suspect shoots him. According to police, he didn't say anything to the victims, then he runs away. Since no one knew the motive, all synagogues in the Los Angeles area were notified.
We alerted other temples and synagogues in the area. We alerted all the schools, advised them to keep the kids inside, go on what we call a lockdown mode, and be on the alert.
Men were shot here as they were walking in for the morning prayer service. The first victim had just arrived when the suspect approached him.
As he exits the vehicle, he observes a male black wearing a black hoodie approach him purposely, and without, apparently at this point, without any words said, the male black produces a handgun and begins firing, attempting to shoot the first victim.
The second victim was trying to get through this door when the suspect shoots him. According to police, he didn't say anything to the victims, then he runs away. Since no one knew the motive, all synagogues in the Los Angeles area were notified.
We alerted other temples and synagogues in the area. We alerted all the schools, advised them to keep the kids inside, go on what we call a lockdown mode, and be on the alert.
Report from the Department of Homeland Security should be taken very seriously. What we found at our intelligence project we run for a number of years here is the political climate, the election of Obama, the immigration issues that have faced the United States over the last 5 to 10 years, and now especially the economy is almost causing a resurgence of what we saw in the days of Timothy McVeigh, almost a militia movement that's being reborn in the United States.
An 11-year-old girl roughed up on a Crown Heights playground. Did a game simply get out of hand, or was she the victim of a vicious attack? Good evening, I'm John Schriffen, and this is News 12 Brooklyn. Police are describing the playground fight as an innocent game of tag gone wrong, But that's not how a young Jewish girl sees it. She says she was attacked by a group of black boys. It happened at the playground on Montgomery Street. News 12's Heather Abraham brings us the story.
A playground fight intensifying to a hate crime investigation. 11-year-old Nahama, who does not want to be identified, says a group of African-American boys her age attacked her. What started as a pushing match quickly escalating.
Grabbed her by the shirt and pushed her down. So she got up, she grabbed him by the shirt and pushed him down.
The boys also calling out racial slurs.
I'm a bitch. I'm a dumb Jew.
This slide is where Nahama says the most brutal of the attack happened. The boys dragging her over here, and she says that's when they started beating her head off of the slide.
Banged my head really hard, and I had like a few seconds blackout.
But investigators tell News 12 there may be a different story, saying this may have been a heated fight following a game of tag. Police vehemently describing this not as a group attack, but as a one-on-one playground fight. Police also believe the racial slurs were uttered in the heat of the moment and not necessarily the motive for the altercation. But Nahama's mother seeing a different picture.
It shouldn't happen. And this is why it
Regarding the Southern Poverty Law Center, Southern Poverty Law Center is a hate group as far as I'm concerned. It's run by radical socialist leftists. People need to know that. I frankly don't care what they have to say, what they have to report. I could care less. All right? Now, when you talk about tolerance and diversity, those are buzzwords. We don't have to tolerate flowers. We don't have to tolerate a sweet aroma. What we're being asked to tolerate is perversion. We're being asked to tolerate baby killing. We're being asked to tolerate sodomy and homo adoption. I'm not going to ever tolerate that kind of perversion. And the day I do, Susan, why don't you just set me up with an appointment with Dr. K?